today. If more come in, I will let them in, but we've started recording and I will go ahead and get started. So welcome to the WEPs Awards information session, July 30th today. It says applications accepted through July 31st, but if you're already on the call, we can take applications a little bit longer. So some good news. Okay, I'll start first with why we are here today. So the WEPs is really what brings us together, the Women's Empowerment Principles. So this is a framework that was launched in 2010. I'm just going to let someone else in. Great. We have a few more guests joining us. Let me just admit them. Great. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, so just introducing the WEP. So this is a framework that was launched in 2010 by UN Women and UN Global Compact, guiding businesses across their value chain to really become more gender responsive and integrate practices and policies for gender equality throughout the whole value chain. So it applies from the C-suite to the office place into the marketplace, and also has into the community and a principle on transparency and reporting. So a private sector entity of any size or sector can join the WEPs. It's a global movement. We now have, I actually need to update this. We have almost 9,800 signatories across the globe. And in Asia Pacific, we actually now have more than 2,600. Great. We have more people joining in now. Great. I'll just let them join. Welcome. We're just getting started explaining the WEPs. So a framework for private sector to become more gender responsive. Okay. So we really started working on the WEPs through UN Women in 2019, and we knew that we had a lot of good practices ongoing. Companies were doing innovative things. They were trying new solutions for gender equality. Whoop, sorry, my display disconnected. Let me just replug it in here. Sorry about that. And then I'll start sharing again. Okay, let me get it plugged in. Okay, just a second. There we go. We can get my screen to cooperate. Okay, let me share again. Okay. So to really capture all of these best practices and be able to inspire other companies and share the good work being done in 2020, we launched the first WEPs Awards for Asia Pacific. And we ran for 3 years from 2020 to 2022. So over that time period, we had more than 1,500 applications from more than 1,000 companies. Each company can submit up to 2 applications. You'll hear more about that later. And we've awarded more than 300 business leaders and also organizations across that time. So you see on the right side are categories that we always have follow this value chain principle of the WEPs from leadership, workplace, marketplace. We also have a special award for SME champions that I'll talk about. And then we always have a highlighted category each year. So we have a special one this year for 2024. Okay. This is just to show you, this was from our last WEPs Awards in 2022, our regional kind of wall of awardees, we call it. And this is just to also show we have a mix of big multinationals that you've heard of, Unilever, PwC, but we also have strong national companies or larger corporates, and we always have a strong contingent of SMEs and very kind of more grassroots local SMEs doing a lot of good work. So there's always a range of companies. So this was our 2022 WEPs Awards. What we did in 2023, we didn't hold a WEPs Awards. We held the first ever Asia Pacific WEPs Forum, where we brought all of our companies together that had been growing since 2019, and also during COVID. Momentum was building, but we couldn't gather everyone together in person. So we brought everyone together in Manila for 2 days to really discuss best practices, share challenges and learnings, where we need the needle to move, both from the private sector and then also public alike. The WEPs Forum Outcome Report is out. Let me see if I have a link to that ready. If not, I can send one later. The reason this is important, you'll hear more today about the WEPs Awards. If you think you're not ready to apply for the WEPs Awards, I would encourage you to apply this year and just try, because the WEPs Awards won't happen again until 2026. So we're moving into a 2-year cycle where we have the WEPs Awards 1 year, and then the next year we'll bring the community together and have the WEPs Forum. So Asia Pacific WEPs Awards this year. And then next year we'll have the forum. What this also means, which is quite special, in previous WEPs Awards years, we've only had the community kind of virtually for the most part, but we'll be able to bring everyone together, and all of the 2024 awardees will be invited to the 2025 WEPs Forum to kind of re-celebrate and re-showcase their efforts. So it's another really great opportunity to kind of get that visibility and also inspire others with the work that you're doing. Okay, I'm going to dive into the WEPs Awards in detail. So I'm going to talk quite a bit, but I'll go over some frequently asked questions. I'll tell you everything about the application. And you're also welcome to drop questions in the chat if you have them. And we should have plenty of time as well at the end that we can go over any questions you have live. I know some have joined us late, just also a reminder to everyone that I'll go over the key dates. The official closing deadline is tomorrow, but we will keep the application portal open. So if you need a bit more time to submit, that's still okay. We would still love to have your application. Okay, in detail. So the awards is open to all private sector organizations operating in Asia Pacific. The WEPs is a vehicle for the private sector, so the WEPs Awards is for private sector. Awardees are always chosen by an expert jury panel. So we do a shortlisting process, and then the final determination of the winners is always this kind of expert panel that have expertise in gender equality and business. And come in to help us make that kind of unbiased, independent decision. What we do as well in countries where we have deeper programming is we have national ceremonies. So this year that will be in India, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. These will likely occur in October or November. For all the other companies that apply from other countries, you all go straight into the regional pool. Your applications come to me, and then you're all eligible for awarding at the regional ceremony. So this is likely going to happen in very early December this year, and that's kind of the final culminating event where all of the awardees from across the region, from those countries, but from Bangladesh, Pakistan, from Myanmar, from Australia, can all get recognized. Okay, this is a bit out of date. So the official application closing deadline is July 31st. But as I said, we can give you a little bit more time if you're here today and you're interested. In September, we will notify shortlisted applicants by email. And then October, November, we will have those national ceremonies. And then I need to update this. I think this will be early December for the regional ceremony. Because we always are on a time crunch, the regional ceremony will be virtual, most likely, and then it will be next year at the WEPs Forum that we have people gather in person. Okay, so we always have 5 kind of main categories that we stick to, and these align to the WEPs. So we have leadership commitment, and then we go into gender responsive workplace, gender responsive marketplace, community engagement and partnerships, transparency and reporting. And then our highlighted category for this year, 2024, is innovative financing. So one important thing about this slide For each of these 6 categories, we have a winner, a first runner-up, and a second runner-up. So that means we get 18 awardees across the 6 categories. But then what we also do, we know the majority of businesses in our region are MSMEs, small and medium-sized or even micro enterprises. We want to make sure that we highlight the good work that we're doing and also that we give them a bit of an, not an advantage, but that we don't disadvantage them. So we also select 3 additional SME champions. You apply in a category, but we find those and pull them out as an extra highlight. And I will explain later how this works. So in the categories, leadership commitment is the only award that goes to an individual. All of the rest go to the organization. You do need to be part of an organization. You can be a solo entrepreneur if you have your own business registered, but you do need to be linked to a private sector entity to apply for this. This is really for any leader in an organization that is taking steps to promote gender equality through the business, either within the business or through the business or through public advocacy around the business. This can go to a man, a woman, or a person of any gender. This is not an award just for women leaders. This is an award for any leader that's promoting gender equality through their leadership. This could be a founder, this could be a CEO, this could also be a VP or a director of a specific unit. It doesn't have to be CEO, and there's also no age limit. So young, old alike can apply for this one. Okay. The next category, gender inclusive workplace, this is very broad. This can be many different things. Someone else is in the waiting room. So in the WEPs, those 7 principles, really 3 principles are covered in workplace. So a variety of different efforts. And when you submit the application, this can be for one thing that you're doing, or this could be for multiple strategies you have to promote gender inclusive workplace. So this could include things like equal pay or recruitment. Maybe you want to submit for one initiative you have to redo your recruitment policy. That would be totally fine. That would make for a great application. Maybe you're doing multiple things like flexible working arrangements or supporting family responsibilities. So male and female employees can take care of children or their parents or other dependents. This could be looking at safety and well-being or protection from sexual harassment in the workplace. This could also be promoting more women into leadership and development. So if you're building that pipeline for women leaders, that goes in this category, not the leadership category. This could also be broader diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. If you promote gender equality, but you're also looking at how you promote disability inclusion, inclusion of people with different ages or ethnic background, or sexual orientation or gender identity status, we would also love to hear about that in the workplace category. Okay, the next one is going down into the marketplace. So when we talk about this one, a gender lens throughout your value chain, we really look at it in 2 pillars. So the first pillar is really the actual marketplace and suppliers that you use. So this would be supplier diversity. One thing we often talk about here is gender responsive procurement. So seeing how you're trying to maybe buy from more women-owned businesses, or in your supplier code of conduct, maybe you are only working with businesses that also promote gender equality or have those practices. Or you might have programs supporting women entrepreneurs to potentially get into value chains or your own supply chain in your industry. So promoting that actual supplier marketplace. The other pillar is gender responsive marketing and advertising. So this is really when you look at what you're doing through your external marketing and advertising to either fight against traditional gender stereotypes or to promote new portrayals of gender of men or women or specific gender roles that you're doing through marketing and advertising. So 2 different pillars for this category. The next one, so kind of going deeper into the value chain or supply value chain, is really community engagement and partnerships. So this could be how you impact or work with communities that are where your business operates or potentially served or impacted by your business. We really like to see a partnership angle with this if we can. So this could be partnering or collaborating with NGOs or international organizations committed to promoting gender to undertake a specific initiative. This could also be in terms of the partnerships element and the wider community. This could be an advocacy or multi-stakeholder platform to promote gender equality, like the Unstereotype Alliance. So that is an alliance of different marketing and advertising companies that come together to actively fight against gender stereotypes. This could also be trying to create industry-wide change. Maybe within your specific sector or industry, you're working to create a larger shift and you're working it through partnerships or through other types of collaborations to do this. That would also belong here. This could also be integrating gender equality into your CSR programs or philanthropy. This is a really good category. We see lots of great applications, but this is particularly relevant for chambers of commerce or industry associations that can also sign the WEPs that are kind of looking to move the wider industry. Okay. The next one, transparency and reporting, quite exciting. No, it is to us, I know not to everyone, but basically the WEPs provides this framework of 7 principles, and in 2021 or 2, I forget, we released this WEPs transparency and accountability framework. So this provides you with a whole set of indicators to measure your actions against the WEPs and measure your progress. So we know that more will change, that the more is measured, and we don't know what we need to change unless we measure it. So this category really supports companies. This could also be stock exchanges or likewise industry associations that are promoting measurement, data collection, and public reporting of that data on gender equality. So this could be a company that's publicly reporting data like women in leadership, retention, or promotion of female employees. This could also be something more internal, like conducting a gender-wide pay audit or an analysis of a particular issue. If you want to look into the pay gap or the percentage of procurement spend, that could be a marketplace application, or it could also be a transparency and reporting application. If you're integrating more gender indicators or some that are not mandatory into your sustainability reporting, that would be great. And similarly, if you're advocating across the industry to advance reporting or more data collection, that would also fit in this category. Okay, and the last one, the newest category, innovative financing. So this was really inspired for us by the International Women's Day theme, Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. A lot of the initiatives under this category, I think, would also fit in marketplace, but we've kind of teased it out a little bit this year. So this is anything that's really looking at leveraging financing or new ways to promote financing or instruments to support gender equality. So this could be a new fund, an investing framework. This could be launching a gender bond or a gender lens fund. Or a new product if you're a bank, if you're a microfinance institution developing a specific product for women entrepreneurs or women could fit here. This could also be a company that's not investing itself or involved in financing, but is creating frameworks that try to drive more capital into the hands of women-owned businesses or other projects promoting gender equality. So this award is not for corporates that are or other private sectors that are financing projects but don't have any involvement. We would want to see that you have some actual involvement in the design, the implementation, or the monitoring of the progress of the project. Okay, so those are the categories. You can apply for up to 2. Just a quick note on eligibility and who can apply. So this is really for any private sector entity. for a solo entrepreneur, if your business is registered, an SME, all the way up to multinationals. Social enterprises are also eligible, industry associations, and stock exchanges. So because it's private sector aligned, NGOs or foundations are not eligible to apply, or government-linked entities. But if you have residency or you operate in Asia Pacific, you're eligible all the way from Korea, Japan, China to the Pacifics, to Papua New Guinea, to Bangladesh, Pakistan, Myanmar, the whole range of Asia Pacific. For the leadership awards, any nationality can apply. If you're Bangladeshi and you've founded an enterprise in India, you can apply for the India category of leadership. That's fine. Also, you don't need to be a WEPs signatory to apply. So if you are shortlisted, before you can get the actual award, you have to become a WEPs signatory. But if you've never heard of the WEPs, today is your first time, that's totally fine. You don't have to be a signatory. When you do want to join, or if you do, you can also not apply for the awards, but become a signatory. So the WEPs is a free platform to join, and it's also non-binding, and there's no reporting obligation. So you make a commitment from your CEO. They sign a statement that they aspire to implement these different principles and commit to looking at these principles throughout the organization, but there is no reporting obligation, there's no fee, there's no mandatory actions when you sign the WEPs. So I did see one question come in. Government entities, unfortunately, are not eligible. Stock exchanges are, but they're not government entities. But if you're a Securities Exchange Commission or another government entity, you're not eligible for the award, unfortunately. If it's a state-owned enterprise, that's a little bit different. But if it's a full government entity, then no, sorry. Okay, I'll skip that slide. Just a quick note on why apply. You really get to showcase your efforts and what you're doing to your customers or your stakeholders. We've also heard from lots of different applicants that it's also a good internal review process, because I'll show you in a minute in the application. We ask you to think about many different parts of your organization in the application. And so a lot of companies have told us when they went through the application, it really got them thinking, oh, okay, we thought we were doing really good, but then we see we're answering no on a lot of things, or it just gave us ideas of what more we could be doing. So I think it's a really great review exercise. Also, if you do become awarded, there's really great opportunities for visibility. So you get great national visibility. There's also regional visibility. So we make these testimonial videos that get uploaded on our UN Women YouTube channel. And there's also global visibility. So we make these short awards profiles. These go on the globalweps.org website. So WEPs does have a global website. I'll show you in a bit. These profiles go up there, and it's quite exciting because right now, if you go to WEPs Awards profiles, they only have Asia Pacific. So we're able to showcase all the good efforts that we are doing. I would also just add, really, when we've had our WEPs forum in the past or any of our events, we always go back to our WEPs awardees for speaking engagements. You form our pool of WEPs champions. And also sometimes, quite often, even some companies that aren't awarded because it just didn't work out, we remember their applications and we still might go back and ask them to speak. So it's a really great opportunity for benchmarking against your peers, but also for visibility. Okay, we'll go through the application process. So everything is done on our website. You choose a language and then you complete the sections and upload files. So the standard application is in English because we just don't have enough boots on the ground to help with translation for multiple countries. We do have applications in Thai, Vietnamese, and Bahasa Indonesia, but the rest are in English. So you only complete one application and you can submit for up to 2 categories. And there's 3 parts in the application. There's information. There's general questions. So these are multiple choice questions that assess your policies and practices aligned to the different WEPs. So these cover all of those 7 principles. And then part 3 is where you choose your category, and we have a series of open-ended questions where you actually talk about what you've done in your initiative. In both parts 2 and 3, we ask you to upload supporting documents. These are to provide evidence for what you write. So we appreciate that startups and entrepreneurs don't have all the supporting documents necessarily. So I will show you what we advise to do for that. And we can also be quite flexible with what you upload. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like, and then I'm going to take you to the website itself. Okay, so this is the part 1 application. Sorry, just a second. Just gonna change something quickly. Okay. Part 1 is general information. How did you hear about the WEPs awards? Number of employees, percentage of women employees, basic info. Part 2 is where you get these multiple choice questions about the policies and practices. I'll show you this in a second. And then part 3 are the category questions. For each of these categories, we follow the same structure. The first part is we ask you to put a title, a short title, just a summary. And then background and context, we ask you to share some background about the issue. Why did you start this program or this policy? What was the problem or the gap you were seeking to address? What's the purpose? And also, who does it seek to impact, and what's the scale? And then the next part, where you get 600 words, we do have the word limit set, is key actions taken and lessons learned. So this is where you tell us, what did you do? What are the key actions? What's the timeline? Also, were there any partners involved? And if so, what approach did you take to working with them, to building the partnership? And then another thing, we really like to hear about any challenges. Maybe not, but what were the challenges in implementing the program? Maybe it was difficulty to get leadership buy-in, or something changed that was unexpected. Any lessons learned or insights you have is really valuable to us, of how you learned or how you shifted or changed your action, or could even be an outside event that made you change your action. We'd like to hear the different things that you learned and how you addressed it. Okay, the final section is results and sustainability. So we want to hear about the results that you have to date, and we want you to be as specific as possible and upload numbers and data if you can. That's not the most important thing, but if you do have numbers on how many people or how many programs, that's great to hear. And how are you determining success? What indicators are you using? What metrics? What kind of data are you collecting? Another thing we really like to hear is, how do you plan to take this forward, or how would you like to make it bigger or deeper, or be scaled or expanded somewhere? We don't want to just see that you did something 4 years ago and then never did anything again on gender. And this is maybe a good time to talk about the time frame for your initiative. So there's no time limit for when this could start. Maybe you started something 10 years ago. If it still is having an impact or it's still active, you can apply it. You can submit it for an application. If you did something for 6 months during COVID and you've never done it again, it probably isn't going to be the strongest application. Likewise, if you have a new program starting and there's no results yet, it probably won't win an award. As long as there's some results, that's great. But if it's a very new program that hasn't started, it's probably not the best to submit. So for this part 3, we ask you again for supporting documents. This can be many different things, and you can upload multiple documents. This can be reports, news articles, links to Instagram or Facebook posts. This could be YouTube videos or actual research reports, sustainability reports. This can really be a lot of different things. And then it takes you to a final section to submit. Okay, let me talk quickly about the scoring, and then I'll actually show you the application. Okay, this might be a little bit confusing, but what we've done is we've weighted the scoring so that we make things a bit more fair for SMEs and multinationals, bigger companies and smaller ones kind of competing against each other. So part 2, these are a lot of general questions and policies that larger corporates will probably have. That's only 25% of the total score. Part 3, where you're talking about the work that you're doing, is 75%. So part 2, 25%, you have that multiple choice. This is automatically scored in our system, and then we use your supporting documents to verify that. Part 3 is where the big part of the score comes in. We use kind of a standardized scorecard for that, and then we also verify your answers with the documents that you upload. Before we have the judges, so the judges do the final score of part 3. We always do a briefing session with them to make sure they're very clear on how to score. We go through an example application together so that we're all aligned. We also make sure there's no conflicts of interest with the judges. And then they go through and score part 3. They send us their scores back. We put everything together, and then we actually determine the final awardees with a numeric score. So that's kind of how it's all done. Okay, I'm going to take you to the actual application. Let me just drag this onto my screen. Okay, great. So let me send this link in the chat to everyone. This is where the applications are actually made. This is our awards website. You can watch previous information sessions or download the slides. It's the same slides. We will also email you today, but it's the same slides. You can also learn more about the WEPs. You can see judges from past years. You can also see who won in previous years. And we also have a lot of testimonial videos. So those videos from previous awardees, you can also go and watch. When you're ready to apply, you hit apply. We do have an application guidance that you can download that has some tips and tricks and just different things to do for the application. And you can also download the application if you want to work on it offline before you submit. So when you're ready, you click the flag for the language you'd like, so English in this case. And this will take me to JotForm. This is what we use for our application system. I'm going to start over. Okay, so it shows me the categories again, and then I'm going to click next. So this is part 1. These are kind of, company name, some basic questions. It's also going to ask me down here what categories I want to apply to. So I'm going to choose gender inclusive workplace and innovative financing. And you'll notice it won't let you select 3 or 4. The maximum is 2. So I select these 2. Okay, and then I'm ready to go to part 2. So I click next. So this is that part where you have multiple choice questions and you have to upload supporting documents. Okay, so let's look at question 2. I'm going to show you how this would work for a smaller entity that maybe doesn't have policies. So does your company have a gender equality action plan in place, and has it been implemented? So if you're a very small organization, maybe you've started some activities, but we don't have a written commitment or gender equality plan. So I'm going to select that bubble, and then it will make me upload a file. Okay, what I would actually do is just, I'm going to drag something on the screen. Hang on. So what we suggest that you should do as a smaller enterprise is start a blank Word document. Yeah, we are a small something. Start a blank Word document and just explain to us what you're doing, right? We implement XYZ, but we don't have a formal policy yet. Just explain it to me, and you can save it, maybe WEPs Awards question 2. Okay, and then that's what you would do, is then upload the file. I think you get the gist, but then I would just, upload that. So we are flexible. This can be intimidating, but we're very flexible. Just upload a Word document and explain. If you select the second option, it's going to ask you, select all that you have done. If you are a WEP signatory, you've made an external public commitment for gender equality. So you can click that one. And then we can check that, or you could upload the CEO statement of support. Maybe you have an internal written commitment, check that. Also upload that document. So we go through these answers and we check with your supporting documents. So if you also check D, we have developed and started implementing a strategy, and we monitor, track, and report on progress. If you select that answer, you need to upload a document that shows us that you monitor, track, and report on progress. So we go back through all of these questions and we check the answers. If most of these are no, don't get discouraged. If you're a small organization, you might be selecting a lot of no, right? We have no formalized criteria. That's okay. We go through all of these by hand and look through all of them very carefully. And when we see that organizations have very low scores on part 2 and they're small enterprises, we pull you to a different pool that's our SME Champions pool. So you're only judged against other similar SMEs. You're not being judged against the multinationals. So we have a whole strategy to make sure that we don't disadvantage you. Okay, because this asks a lot of different questions. Or paternity leave, we have no formalized policy. Again, you can just upload a file that says, maybe we don't have any male employees, or, we're a new organization, we don't have the capacity to offer paternity leave. That's okay. Upload the Word document. Some questions like this: do you have an approach to accommodate work-life balance? If you select C, it gives you a bunch of different options. So again, for every option that you select, you have to provide evidence. So sometimes companies select offers on-site childcare facilities. But if you don't give us a document that has pictures or shows evidence of the on-site facilities, then we go back in and we kind of take the answer out. So we just need to make sure that you can provide evidence. Okay, so that takes you through number 2, part 2. And then when you go to part 3, you see that the categories you picked are already here. Gender inclusive workplace is the first one. So it will ask me for a quick title. And then here is background and context. It will cut you off after 400 words. So the main submission is what you write, but then you do also have a chance to upload multiple supporting documents. If you want to send videos, you can send a WeTransfer, or you can include a link to Google Drive. We're also very flexible with this. And you can upload multiple answers, or an Excel sheet, a PowerPoint, PDF. It accepts multiple formats. If you want to start your application and come back later, you can hit the Save button. What it's going to do is, we've emailed you a link. I think it still has my email in here. So you can click Get Draft Link, and then the link will copy, and you can do that. I think this already has me logged in. That's why it already has my email. But you can already enter your email, always enter your email in here or get the draft link. And then you can come back and complete your application at a later time if you want to. Okay, I'm going to go back quickly to frequently asked questions. And then I'll let you guys ask any other questions if you have them. Okay, so a few of the common questions we get. Is there any fee to join the WEPs community or the WEPs Awards? No, there's absolutely no fee at all. Great. Okay, yeah, no fee to join the WEPs or the WEPs Awards. Just a quick reminder too of everyone on the call on the timeline. We are still accepting submissions, so you can still submit a few more weeks. We will not close the portal. The official deadline is tomorrow, but we will still leave the submission portal open, so you can still continue to submit the application. And if you have any other, I'm just going to pop it in the chat quickly, specific questions on the timeline or the application, you can email me as well. Okay, if I applied or won in 2022, can I still apply? Yes, that's fine. If you won before, we ask that you submit for a different category or a different initiative, but you can still apply. Okay, we've talked about the application and judging process. Yeah, we get this one a lot. Can I apply if I have not implemented gender equality initiatives in all areas of the WEPs? Yes, no company is really able to implement all 7 WEPs all at the same time. That's not our expectation. We want companies to work on what they can and what is important and what they hear their employees or their stakeholders need. So if it's the first time you've heard about the WEPs, that's totally fine. We also, every single WEPs award cycle, we hear from a winner that tells us, I wasn't going to apply because I didn't think I was doing enough, or what I was doing was special and somebody convinced them to apply and then they won. So if you're scared you're not doing enough, I would still encourage you to apply. Nobody sees your full application except for the internal shortlisting team. And we use this just to shortlist and gather the data. So we still encourage you to submit whatever you're doing. Okay, can I apply as a regional office for initiatives implemented in several branches? Yes, if you have a multinational or a company that operates in a few different countries, you can apply as the regional office or the HQ, plus for the different country offices if you want. So you could apply for the regional office in Thailand, for example, and for your offices in Cambodia and Vietnam. Okay, any other questions? We've gone quite quickly. There were a few in the chat. But please feel free to post any other questions in the chat. Okay. I will then maybe, if we have time and I have you on the line, this was the WEPs Awards website. Let me just send the link quickly. I think it's an interesting document. This is the outcome report from our WEPs forum that we held last year. That also just gives you a taste of what people are doing in the region, where we see the most action is happening, where we need more action to be taking place. There's that report. Also, let me take you here. Okay, I'm logged into my admin account right now, but this website, just for you to see, let me log out just so you can see it how you will if you log in. So this is the globalweps.org website. We have our WEPs Awards being promoted. So this is if you're interested to join the WEPs, you would go to this Join tab, submit the CEO statement and a short application. So if you go to signatories, yeah, we have one on the line that just became a signatory from Myanmar. So we're at 9,842. We're going to hit 10,000 companies globally soon that have joined the WEPs. And you can also filter by country. So if you want to see who in my country has signed the WEPs, you can do that. You can always view a company profile and see what they have. If you become a WEP signatory, so right now we do have a lot of resources that are free, but we do have other resources that are exclusive to WEP signatories. So this is a really great DEI manual aligned to WEPs that are HQ published. So you have to sign in. So it's a member-only, WEPs-only resource. And we have more and more tools like this all the time that are developed just for WEP signatories. We also have, like I mentioned, our WEPs Awards profiles. If you go search, we have all of these from Asia Pacific. So you can read through what previous winners did for the WEPs Awards, which is quite exciting. And then this is the global website. Okay. Any more questions? So we will be sharing the recording and the slides. I shared my email in the chat. You can always reach out if you have any more questions at all or need any assistance to finish the application. So just to say one more time, the public deadline is tomorrow, but we will leave the application portal open. We would still love to have your application. Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, I will go ahead and stop it there a little bit early. But thanks everyone for taking the time to join us and also your interest in the WEPs Awards. We hope to see your application soon, and please just get in touch with any other questions. So have a great afternoon. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.